Hey everybody, it's Dan the podcast man, safety man, homebuyer man. Today I got my co-host here today, Pocket Pete.
Hey now.
And today I have a very special guest. I actually know him. I can't quite remember, but I think it's elementary school. But I got one of my good friends here, Matt Porcaro, 203 K-Lone.
What's up? What's up, guys?
Hey now.
I love you guys. What's up? Glad
Right
to be
back
here.
at you.
That's the way you started. You just
Start with the love.
Start with the love.
Yes, that's what we're all about. Love here. Hug it out. No, good to be here. I love that you guys are doing this.
Yes, I agree. And when I still remember the day I went to P. I'm like, I'm just gonna pitch him this idea. And then he's like, yeah, sure. I'm still. You're like
Taken back by
100%.
He's a yes man. You just have to make sure it's on a schedule,
Really?
and it,
Yes,
and it
man.
happens.
Interesting. Where can we go with
I
that?
live for life.
So since we got Matt here, Matt, I want to hone in a little bit on you. I want a little bit of background on you, how you got started in real estate. I know you have a construction background with an electrical engineer. Yeah, I'll let you talk.
Let me talk.
Yeah, go ahead. Shoot.
Man, where do I start? Well, I was born in Rockville Center in March 29th, 19. No, my start with this is, obviously we're all Long Island people, working class, grew up in that world. And I just knew there had to be a better way from a young age, and seeing my parents kind of struggle through the economy and struggle financially growing up. They had their own business, right? So in the construction field, in the construction business, but a lot of ups and downs. Very, in the construction side of things, you're very sensitive to the market cycle, right?
Your father, he's a contractor, right?
General contractor. When times are good, times are good. But when times are bad, times are really bad. And growing up, my parents wanted me they thought that having your own business, that working for yourself was like the death sentence. They thought that was the bad thing, right? Because they saw the ups and downs where they see growing up, I had friends and their parents had consistent incomes, and they go work in the city every day, and they have benefits and health care and all the bells and whistles. To my parents, the static income every week, get a paycheck, benefits, everything like that was the way.
But Matt, so I know you're a father. You're a father. You have two kids, correct?
Yep.
As parents, as I'm a parent as myself, and I think Pete can agree to this too, is that we want our kids ultimately to do better than us. That's what my father wanted. He wanted me to do better than him. And I think your parents also,
100%.
And that's kind of the
no, there's nothing wrong with what they were doing, right? It's a classic thing of the grass is always greener, and they're not wrong in that sense, because from their angle and from their way of what they lived in, consistency is what they were looking for, right? So they told me to, go to school, get a good job, work for a company, and you won't have to worry about money. Go do that. That's the way, right? The hard part was, and the shitty part was, I'm pretty stupid and I wasn't very good at school. But what I do have is I have pig-headed determination. I just don't quit. I'm really too stupid to quit. That's kind of like, it's a little bit of my superhero thing, but at the same time, I'm like the most like backhanded misfit superhero, in the sense that like it's not a superpower. It's just like what has gotten me this far in life is just being too stupid to quit, because things take me way longer than they should to figure out. So fast forward, I went to school, went to college, got out by the skin of my teeth in 4 years with an engineering degree.
Where'd you go?
Only reason Manhattan College in the city. And it was an engineering school. And the only reason I went there was because my guidance counselor in high school asked me what I wanted to do. And I asked her, what makes the most money in the shortest amount of time? My mind was always on money from day one, because again, growing up in that environment, my parents put money on a pedestal. They put when times were bad, I knew it. 7 years old, 8 years old. Like I knew, so
Oh my God. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but that is so true. I remember growing up as well, and then being in that environment, because my father was a contractor as well. He worked for the union. And I just remember when times were slow and when he was home, and I was like, why is my father home? Like, why he shouldn't be home. He should be out every
Right, I remember that too.
It's just, and the kid, 7 years old, like, oh, the kid wouldn't know. No, they know. Kids are smart.
I think we realize now how much those early years affect us long term, and it's like, you know, kind of deep in the psychological part of things, but that stuff really rubs off on you. So
Yeah.
I went to school, you know, went in and worked, you know, got through by the skin of my teeth, and went into engineering because it was like the highest earning degree that you can get in 4 years without, because I knew I wasn't good at school. So I knew I wasn't smart enough to like go be like something really smart people do, like a lawyer or a doctor or something like that. So I'm not really going to be a high earner, but I'm going to go in and get by. And I was pretty good at science. So I figured, okay, let me do that.
I'm sorry. I'm really annoyed right now. I'm annoyed. You know why?
Why?
Because I never viewed you that way.
As what?
You are labeling yourself stupid, which I never saw you that way. Because we went to elementary school together, we went to middle school together, and then you separated from us.
I did. I separated. I went to Catholic high school,
and I admired the fact that, oh wow, this dude's smart. But now you're just telling me.
Well, I think what we're seeing is that, I don't, you know, the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yes.
So,
I don't. So explain it.
Big
Matthew
fan of that.
is
Talk
smart
about it all the
enough
time.
to be self-critical, and the least intelligent people, the people that know the least about a topic, tend to have the most confidence in it. Yeah. And then you have this scale in which you're heading towards mastery. And the more we learn, the more we realize there's so much vastness out there. And then we realize we know so little. But you have to get to a level like Matt is of intelligence and understanding to know how much there is to learn. So that's actually what I'm seeing here, is not a person that's stupid.
I don't think so.
But a very intelligent person that understands the vastness of knowledge.
I know what I don't know better than what I do.
Bingo.
So and I've heard that before, is like wisdom is about knowing what you don't know and more about what you don't know than what you do. And I think that's what it was. I knew I wasn't good at certain things, so I gave myself the grace to stick with it. But to fast forward into the real estate thing, right? Like I got out of school, I got a pretty good job in the union working in Local 3 as an electrical engineer, you know, working out in the field, and got into that gig and started doing the 3-hour commute to the city every day, which all of us know very well. Yeah, of course. And, you know, was being told my whole life that this is the dream. This is the American dream. This is what you want to do. And I think I was working there for about a week, and I realized, like, this ain't the fucking my parents saying. Like, this is not good either. So, I don't know what everyone says is good. I mean, obviously in New York, like, we have this whole like addiction to the commute to the city, and we're all addicted to the money in the city and all this stuff. But I'm like, well, this shit ain't fun. So like, I don't know where to go from here.
So you feel like your parents were living in survival, right?
Yes.
Constant, like, things are good, things are bad, things are good, things are bad. People with W-2 income, there was safety, there was security. They imparted that on you. Then you buy into that wholeheartedly. Then you get it. Then you get on a train and you get there and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Is that pretty much what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Real quick, so we got basically your a little bit of your timeline.
Yeah.
When did you start working, and then if you can hone in on it, so when did you start working, and then when did you have that realization? What year, after how many years? Like, oh wait, this isn't what I thought it was supposed to be.
So I started interning. That was the smartest thing I probably did as a younger kid, because again, my grades sucked. So the smartest thing I did, and if you're a young kid and you're watching or listening to this for some reason, interning is probably the best thing you can do, because it goes like, in the work world, people just want to know that you're experienced. They don't really, at the end of the day, really give a shit about your grades. They just want to make sure that you have good attitude, you work hard, you have a background in something, and you have experience in something. So luckily, I started interning like my sophomore year, and I started working that, and I started getting kind of a glimpse into it, and I wasn't really a big fan of it. But then, you know, I immediately walked into a job out of school, which was with the company that I was interning with. And again, once I kind of really started realizing, like, okay, this is my new life now. Like, this is the daily grind. Pretty much immediately, I knew that it wasn't for me. That, you know, this is back 2012. The economy was really in the shitter still. And, you know, the idea was like, I knew that there had to be a better way. I just didn't understand how like I'm like, people don't get rich this way either. Like I was surrounded by other people. Yeah, it's a good job, but like no one's excelling. And I mean, we could all appreciate this. Nothing to rag on union, but like the overarching union mentality is we are all the same, and we're all part of one big group. And like when you over excel or like over produce, it's like in some circles they're like, whoa, slow down. Like I remember one day, like I was estimating a job, and I'm like, well, I got to finish this. He's like, dude, just we're done for the day.
Paid by the hour. You're paid by the hour. Why?
Right.
Why? Don't go above and beyond.
Don't go above and beyond. What are you, crazy? Don't be a hero.
No.
That's not how I grew up. Right. My dad, you know, they instilled in me, like they had their own business. You work until you're done. You work hard. You do what you have to do. So it was just a disconnect. And you know, fast forward, I always tell this story because we were working World Trade Center when it was getting rebuilt, and right on Fulton Street, I was going to Five Guys for lunch. And I was on my way, and there's the guys in the street that would sell books, like used books. You've seen it, right? The guys just hustling books. Everyone's got a hustle in New York City. And there's a bunch of books laid out on the table, used books.
Game.
Yeah, no, he's in the book game. We should probably get in the book game. Dan, the book buyer, man. So I was walking down Fulton Street, and I see this guy like selling a bunch of books, and I saw a little book that no one's ever heard of before called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Oh yeah. Just kidding. So this
oh man, it's like about to get really good.
It's like the red pill, right? That's what I call it. And I was like always interested in business and stuff like that. And I always remembered that, like, hearing about this, a good book, and it's a really great book to read. And it was like, so it was that book and like a couple of the other Robert Kiyosaki's books. So I like bought them all, and I was like, how much for all these? And he's like, $10. So I bought it for $10. And I went to Five Guys, and I remember like opening the book at Five Guys. And you know how at Five Guys they give you that giant freaking bag of French fries? Like, have you ever been there? And
of course, yeah.
Yeah, right. They load up, like, they're like, oh, I'm going to get a small fries. And they just load up the whole bag. And, you know, just showing how gluttonous I am and how into the book I was, I opened the book and I finished that whole damn bag of fries because I was so enthralled with the book, and I'm such a fat ass that I was just constantly eating the fries as quickly as possible. I realized, like, well, I'm just finished that whole, I'm really liking this book, but I just ate the fries. I was like so engulfed in the book that I didn't realize how many fries I was eating.
But here's the question. So you were eating fries and reading a book.
Yeah.
You knew you finished the book once the book was insaturated with oil.
Yeah, I mean, probably that original copy is pretty nasty right now. But that book for a kid growing up in my environment where the word investing didn't exist in our vocabulary growing up. That wasn't a thing we did. That was a thing that rich people did. We don't reinvest money. We don't put money in stock market. That's rich people do
working
that.
class.
Save and pay down your mortgage.
Right.
Exactly.
That's
it. If I can get out of my mortgage, I'm safe again.
Bingo.
That's the life most middle-class people are living.
Or you make money and you spend it on, my dad's Italian. You spend it on a vacation. You spend it on nice food. You spend it on
family.
You spend it on family. There's nothing wrong with that. When times were good, times were good. But here we are years later. My dad doesn't have a retirement. He didn't put away. That wasn't the thing. It was enjoy your life, do that thing. But again, when you were growing up and you read this book and you're like, oh shit. Like, maybe I should be doing this investing thing. And that was the red pill for me because I realized in that moment that the W-2 and the job wasn't the answer, although it sure as hell got me to where I am now. Without that, I remember, I don't want to go too much deeper on this, but I remember reading that book and immediately just getting really fucking angry. I was so mad at my job. I was like, I worked so hard. I blasted my way through college and was told like this is the way, and I'm reading this book and this guy's saying like, no, this is a fucking scam, and I'm like,
you've been scammed. You've been duped.
I've been duped. I'm like, I need a business. I got to invest in real estate. Yeah. What the hell am I doing? What am I wasting my time with this shit for? And I remember getting really, really angry at my job initially, and then this is when I first came into my career. I should be like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and really enjoying it, but
wait, hold on one second.
Yeah.
You said you got mad at your job. Do you also felt like you're mad at yourself? Like were you just didn't?
No, because I think it was, I didn't know what I didn't know at that point.
Okay, so
I basically was like, after reading that book, I'm like, F the man, F the job, like F W-2s, like I'm gonna be an investor, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. At this point, I'm like 22, 23.
Nice.
Good
right?
time. That's a good age.
So like, again, and now to your point, Dunning-Kruger effect, like I'm fucking like, I'm just flying high. I'm like, I'm gonna start my own business. I'm gonna start, and I went down that rabbit hole. I started trying to invest in the stock market and come up with like a bunch of side gig businesses. I'm gonna start, and they all failed.
That was the period of time which you knew everything, right?
I knew everything.
Felt like you knew everything.
Yeah.
As every 22-year-old does.
Right.
Yep.
That's the done. You're on the done inside.
Yes, I'm on the dumb side.
The dumb inside.
And so I kind of went on that trajectory of trying to figure out all different business models, because even still, what was crazy about reading that book was like, even still after reading the book, he talks about how real estate really is the end all be all. Yeah. But to me, living in New York, like seeing how my mortgage, the mortgage was killing my parents, like you said, like they felt like they were indebted to their slave to their mortgage. Yep. Seeing how that mortgage was to them, seeing the cost of housing around here, I'm like, I just wrote it off. I'm like, there's no way in freaking hell that we're going to be able to afford it. I'm going to buy multiple houses. What is this guy fucking crazy? He doesn't live in New York. Like it doesn't happen here. That. He doesn't understand I don't have $150,000 to put down on a property. I never will. So I wrote it off. So I went to stock world. I went like the business world and trying to like start a side hustle and stuff like that. So in the beginning, like real estate seemed impossible for me, but that was ultimately what, led me to what I do now.
I think what you're saying is such a common reaction when people hear or they're around somebody that is doing the thing that they want to do, or you're reading a book about somebody that did the thing, accomplished something that you want to accomplish. It's like, yeah, but.
Right.
The buts are what trap people from creating what they want to create. And you had your yeah, but moment. What broke you out of your butt?
What broke me out of my yeah, but? So as I started getting more into learning more about a side hustle, I immediately was just like, I was working my, 7 to 4, and then on the train, like interested in reading more books and like seeing how, again, I could invest or whatever in stocks. And I did everything from penny stocks to options and lost a shit ton of money. Everything I put in, I lost. Because again, I'm pretty dumb and I don't really know what I'm doing. So I kind of like, I didn't excel in any of this stuff. I just was trying different things and seeing what would work for me. And there was one day I was listening to a podcast, and there's this guy talking about how he was able to buy real estate with no money and no credit and all this stuff, right?
That's impossible, right?
Well, that's a whole nother topic for another day. I have a love-hate relationship with that type of model. But at the end of the day, he was talking about wholesaling. And so I was interested in that. And that was, again, one of those like wide awakening moments. Dunning-Kroger in the beginning, I was back at the beginning of that damn graph again. I'm like, oh, this one's the way. Let's do this. So started talking to this guy a little bit, and he was kind of mentoring me through some stuff. I paid him a little bit of money, and he showed me how to get into wholesaling. It was funny. Again, right? Yeah. He was in Minnesota. I was in New York. He said, okay, go to your title company and get with your title company and ask. And like, I'm like, well, the title company says I need to go to an attorney. He's like, what does that mean? That doesn't mean you go to your title company. Your title company hands you your closings. Like, I don't know. This title company keeps telling me, no, I have to go to an attorney. He's like, that doesn't make any sense. Again, he's just like, I'm like, New York's different, man. 100%. I don't know. But he didn't know that.
Right.
So it's like one of those learning experiences where you go through the model and go through the motions and everything like that. And you're just like, kind of like, oh, my situation's different. New York's tougher. It doesn't work here. New York's harder. You can't succeed in real estate here. And again, all those things going through my head. But I was too stupid to quit. I just stuck with it. I'm like,
I love that.
My whole thing was like, if somebody's doing it, I can do it. I just don't know how, but like, there's no way that someone else can do something and I can't do it. Like, that was always in my head. Yeah. I won't be good at it. It's going to take me a long time to figure it out. But like, I always refuse to believe that if someone's doing something that I'm not capable of doing it. Because I would see people that were I think I'm pretty dumb, but I think I would look at people that I'm like, I don't think that guy's much smarter than me, but he's doing it. So
Matt, I really... You're saying such incredible stuff, and I want to highlight some of the stuff that you've been saying. You keep saying you're dumb. First of all, I don't, it's funny to me that you're saying that, but at the same time you're saying, but I won't quit.
Right.
I won't quit. And I think that's a personality trait. It doesn't matter. You're going to go down swinging. And
right. Exactly.
And if you have this, like, that's why me and Pete were talking earlier this week. I hate when people try to sell themselves short. If you don't know what you don't know, how are you going to know? But ultimately, if you don't stop and say, hey, I'm getting to this point, I don't care if it's going to take me 90 days, it's going to take me a year, it's going to take me 3 years, 10 years, but you knew ultimately there was nothing going to stop it. There was nobody's going to tell me how to live my life, and this is what's supposed to be done.
100%. 100%. And I know, and when I say that, I'm not saying it self-deprecatingly. Like, I'm not trying to like depreciate myself and my value. It's just that the reality of it is that I just know that it's something that probably will take me a little longer. I know who I am, and I know that I really need to digest things before I do it. But again, to your point, I know that if it's something that I'll put my mind to, that I will get through it and get to it. And that's really what happened with this whole thing. Was like, I knew that, okay, the wholesaling model worked. The real estate model can work. I think it let me know that it's possible. And once I knew that it was possible, I just knew that I don't know how I was going to get there, but I was going to start going after it
and failing.
And that's the thing, right? And one of my favorite quotes is that, you know, when people ask you, what's the opposite of success? Most people say failure.
Yeah.
Not true. Failure is part of success. You cannot be successful without failure.
100%.
I always tell people all the time, I say success is in the presence of competition and adversity. Like, I always make the analogy, like, if I start a mud pie business, I just go in my backyard and dig holes and create pies of mud, and I sell them on my corner.
In New York, by the book guy.
Well, yes. Now,
sure.
I pack the best mud pie. These are the best packed, perfect circle mud pies. Why am I not making any business? I'm blaming everyone around me. No one understands. No one understands how great my mud pies are. They're too good. It's the market's fault.
Love this analogy.
It's like, no,
I love
it's not. It's not a successful business because there is no competition. No one else sells mud pies. Nobody wants mud pies. I love when people tell me my market's too competitive. Oh, New York's too competitive. All right, I could show you some places in West Virginia where you could buy a house for $5,000. Go invest there. No competition. Solved. Right?
Right.
Yeah. There's your real estate. There's your opportunity. $5,000 houses, West Virginia. Go for it. But you said competition's bad. Oh, well, I want there to be a little competition. Oh, okay. Why? Well, because people want to live there. Because why? You're not buying real estate just to buy. You buy real estate because it appreciates. You buy real estate in areas where people want to live, where it increases in value. So again, coming back to the success thing, it's like, if you want to be successful at something, there has to be other things at play. Otherwise, it's irrelevant. It's bogus.
Walk me through your mindset, because I think the three of us here kind of live in that comfortable with failure world.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, because I have a lot of conversations.
Now I do.
Okay. Yeah.
That you say that there was obviously the beginning of that, the failure part. Like, oh man, I shouldn't be doing this.
It's hard for everybody.
It's very difficult. But when we talk real estate, by the way, I think people fail to understand that it is a long-term play. If you're going to buy a house to live in, 30-year mortgage, that's a long-term play. You want to invest and be a part of this in real estate world, it's a long-term play.
Yeah, people don't understand that. People, especially now with all like the guru stuff of like, oh, you know, buy houses with no money, no credit, make $1 million a month, and it's great. But yeah, I think that's where people miss out on the real estate.
Here's where I see most of the people either not starting or immediately stopping is they make perfection the enemy of the good.
Yeah.
And because I'm coaching a lot of people as a broker, I'm coaching people. As people that want to be investors, I'm coaching them. And the first thing I'm always have to push them past is I'm not ready yet. I don't know this yet.
Right.
And they never take the first step. And then the first failure is a failure instead of part of the process. And I'm curious if, Matt, you had something in you that ignored that, or did you have to learn that? Is that part of how you grew up? Like, what? I attribute everything that I do to Rocky 1. But what is,
hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to piggyback on that story. Do you like envision yourself as, you know, Rocky? Like you just you Pocket Pete, the Rocky version? Like,
yeah, no, I'm the underdog that came into a thing that's bigger and badder than itself, and I'm going to do everything I can to work hard and get through this thing and prove that I belong there. That's how I lived the first half of my life.
I want to see this movie.
The
Pocket Pete Rocky version.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm down.
No, I like it. We're gonna get you boxing. To answer your question, here's the thing. Like you said, everyone's comfortable with fair. I'm not. I'm still not. I don't take it well. I'm afraid of it still to this day. Again, it's a skill set though. You learn it over time. So to fast forward how I broke into real estate, right? And ultimately what happened was I became so enthralled with it and knew that there was a way, but I didn't know what the way was. I was looking into it, really reading about it, trying it, wholesaling for 4 years. I didn't get anywhere with anything. But again, I was too stupid to quit. I was too stupid to give up. And I like knew that, you know, like people, like I probably could have locked up deals. I probably like could have, I just was constantly missing the boat. And I, you know, got involved in local RIA groups and just kind of like looking for that answer. And found out from the local RIA, you know, Melissa Shea, who runs that one. And I asked her about, you know, I was like, listen, Melissa, I've been trying this thing for like a while. Like, what would you do if you were me? I'm like, I don't have tens of that. Like, I'm going here. There's these old guys with a bunch of money that they had saved up and people that got this money here and this money here. And then, you know, people that want to be wholesalers but they don't have a job. So it's easy because they could go door knock for hours. Like I commute, I'm out of the house 12 hours a day. Well, like, what do I do? So she's like, listen,
give me the answer.
Yes. And I respect her a lot because she's an all-star if you guys know her. And like, she was like, listen, I've never personally done it myself, but there's something called the FHA 203K loan. 4 years of research in real estate. Never once heard about it. I'm like, okay, what's that? She's like, well, you don't have a house yet, right? I said, no. She said, okay, and you want to buy, like, you want to flip and stuff like that? I said, yeah. Tell me more. Where are you going with this? She said, well, listen, there's this loan. It's called the FHA 203K loan. It's a federally backed program. You only have to put 3.5% down. I was like, what? I thought you have to put down 20. She said, no. You are occupying the house. You don't have a house yet, so this can be your first home, but you only have to put 3.5% down, which was in my that was all the savings I had was about that. Like about 15 grand was all I had, which was was enough. She said, find something that needs work. They give you all the money to purchase it, all the money to renovate it, and here in Long Island, buy a house, live in the basement, rent out the upstairs to a family, get the mortgage paid off, renovate it, fix it up, build some equity and get some cash flow going, build some experience.
What's that called? What is that called? What you're just explaining that whole entire
the Burr model.
Burr model and house hacking.
And house hacking, right? But at the time, I didn't even really know what house hacking was. But my parents house hacked. My parents house hacked, but they didn't house hack because it was like they learned it from Bigger Pockets and they learned it on YouTube. They did it because they couldn't afford their freaking mortgage in Long Island. Yeah. I mean, they didn't. They had to put a basement apartment and rent it out to my uncle because they couldn't afford their damn mortgage on their own. Like so.
Speaking of house hacking, how many? Because my parents house hacked too. I lived in one room with two of my brothers, bunk beds, and upstairs was rented out.
Yeah.
How many people do you think really house hack in Long Island that nobody knows about? Like, I want to know the statistic of that honest number.
How many people are renting their houses or
I'd say at least a third.
A third.
Yeah. Are renting their houses. That's what we're saying.
I'd say at least a third.
Yeah, I'd say that's right.
While occupying it themselves.
Yes.
So,
I'd say at least a third. It is wildly popular here.
I just left a house that I'm listing right now that has a wonderful apartment in it and people can't wait to buy it. It's
What could happen if the local government steps in and really comes down the hatch?
They won't. They can't. They can't. They literally can't. That's another topic for another day. They can't. They'll get. You can't. There's no. They call it common and customary. There's at this point, it's too. They've created an environment where it's impossible without it.
Correct.
So and there's a lot of legislation federally that's coming down on the ADU legislation. So the house hacking thing. So anyway. Like that's my expertise now was kind of this house hacking concept again of like, how do I afford a mortgage? How do I get into it? I basically was able to, I found out about this. I'm like, okay, well, I could buy a house with little down, build a bunch of equity into it, and then basically not have to pay my mortgage while I live there. And then this is going to be my first real estate investment that's going to actually put me on the trajectory to buy more. So I immediately go home. I'm really interested in this. I go home. I start going on Google. And now this is years ago. I mean, this is 2015. And I just start like Googling and there's no information about this. Like none. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why? Maybe this is why I haven't heard of it. Like, what'd she leave out? Like, why does nobody talk about this? Like, why can't I find anything on it? Like, again, dribs and drabs, like on the government website, but like nothing about it. I'm like, this thing sounds awesome. Why the hell wouldn't people know about this?
When I started in real estate, I read one of Brandon Turner's book from when he was with Bigger Pockets, and one of the terms he brought up in there was like I saw 203K line.
Yeah, he brings it up in one of the books, the low money, no money down book. Yeah,
and I'm like, well, this is interesting. And then, like you said,
he makes it sound amazing and then never talks about it again. So many people that worked with me and like people that came into my world are from that. They're like, because I read that book after I had already found out about it.
Yeah.
And he talks about it and he's like going through all the different things and everything sounds really difficult. And then he mentions that and then says nothing else about it. To be fair, love Brendan, but he actually missed the boat on a couple things. He's actually wrong about a couple things about the contract or everything like that. But suffice to say, people really only find out about it from that or like by accident, like I kind of did. So the reality of it was, but here's what it comes down to, right? And I think this kind of wraps in everything that I've always been about and everything that I've come to and like who I am as a person, right? At the end of the day, and it loops in, we're doing a big loop. We're doing a wrap back here because it's going to wrap back into what you said, right? About failure. It was my only fucking option.
Ooh.
After all the looking at wholesaling and flipping houses and raising private capital and all these things that just didn't fit my bill, here's something where I'm rewarded for working my 9 to 5 because my W-2 job is what's going to help me get this damn mortgage. I'm able to use this as a leverage point. That's number one. Number two, in a crazy, expensive New York market where 20% down is just not possible.
Very expensive.
For anyone in their 20s, in their 30s, and their 40s lately. I can get in for 3.5, right? And it was tough then too, right? 3.5% down, that was like 15 grand. I could wrap my head around 15 grand. 150 grand, no shot. $15,000, it like felt attainable. And then it gave me all the money to renovate it. I could buy one of these fixer-upper foreclosures that I was told that you can only buy if you're all cash. So I'm like, this solves a lot of problems. It gives me a place to live. I can get someone to pay my mortgage. It just made sense. So even though it had no backup or I couldn't find anything on it, the beauty of it was this. I'm an analysis paralysis junkie. I get stuck in my own way. I have a fear of failure. But by necessity of this being my only option, I leaned into it because I knew if this is going to work, I've been trying this for 4 years. If this doesn't work, I don't have anything else. So it forced me into it. And the obstacle is the way is like one of my quotes that I live by in my life, right? It's a Stoic quote, right? From Marcus Aurelius. And it's basically like whatever's standing right in front of you is what you need to focus on. Everything else is just noise. And the beauty of the 203K for me is once I finally, because again, I had no understanding of it. I went to the one mortgage person I knew, which was a friend of my cousin, EJ. And he was like, yeah, no, this is good. We can do it. And but he didn't really know it either at the time. So we just go into it blind, but it forced us, when they say put you against a wall, you're gonna claw out. It forced me to I need to learn as I go, and no distractions are going to prevent me from going to slow me down because it's do or die. It's either this or nothing.
So with the 203K loan, since a lot of people don't know about it, what is let's make it super simple. What is the big barrier?
Can I just say something first?
Sure, go ahead.
That is the driving force for me in my mind is that there's a major lesson that I just want to shout right now.
Do it.
Is you for 4 years were in a desert looking for a piece of gold.
Yep.
And you're just with a fork. You're not giving up and you're just digging and you're not quitting.
Yeah.
Because you need to make this work, the tenacity of combing the desert with a fork. And then you find this little piece of paper that's a clue.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the cook. It wasn't the gold.
It
wasn't the gold.
No, it wasn't the gold.
It was
like, this might get you to the gold.
Right. And then you had to delve in deeper.
Yeah.
When you found there was close to no information, you had to keep going to find the thing that got you to the place that brought you where you are right now.
I love you, Pocket Pete.
And that is...
I love that analogy. Yeah. It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
It's true. 4 years.
Yeah. At least
4 years.
At least. Yeah,
in the desert.
Before I
the
got something.
Power of tenacity. Of saying, I'm going to figure this out with nothing.
Yeah.
A fork and a desert.
And here's the lesson in all of it, right? I read this in a book recently. Thinking, basically it said that thinking consumes more energy than doing.
Ooh. Yeah.
The amount of time you spend on thinking and pontificating and theorizing and theory crafting your next move and everything like that, literally consumes your emotional and mental bandwidth so much more than just fucking going out and doing it. Yeah. And the lesson to that was I, for 4 years, thought that I would find the magic pill, the magic book, the secret deal source. Like, oh, investors, they have this special place. They have a connection with the judge at the foreclosure department, and they know. It's like you want to convince yourself of all these things of like it's easier or simpler for someone because they have some magic pill. And I realized when I started getting into it that my biggest thing holding me back was I didn't just fucking lean into something and just do it. I learned more when I got into that 203K, which I suffered through, of course, because there was no information on it. But again, I suffered through it and I learned a lot. I learned more in that 4-month period of like my closing and going through this and learning that whole thing about investing, about finding deals, about the market, how to work with contractors, all that stuff. I learned more about that in 4 months than I did in 4 years because I just did it. And I learned, but you have to learn by doing. And that's what true learning comes from. I always say, like, we are more educated as a society. We are more educated than ever, but less experienced than ever in history.
So right? I want to bring up something. So I think both of you guys can agree with what I'm about to explain. Myself, you, Pete, Matt, both in a W-2 world.
Yeah.
You have a boss. A boss is kind of guiding you. Here's your list of tasks.
Yeah.
You're going to boom, 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 boom. Here's what you're going to do. And I expect this back by the end of the week, whatever it is, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So you have a person that is guiding you. There is no guidance as an investor.
No.
There is no, oh, where's my boss? You're your own boss. You want to invest. Guess what? You're the boss. You yourself have to kind of figure all this stuff out. There's no one on top of you going, Dan, you got to go check this property out. You need to raise this money. You should check this bank out. Is that fair?
Fair, yeah. And I'm so thankful I'm unemployable because because I might be trapped in that.
Yeah.
But it's you have
absolutely.
to fend for yourself. You have like you said, you get so stuck in your head. Like if I do this, but you have no idea. There's no actual guidebook. Yes, there's investing. Like we're talking about these books. They say do this, do that.
Yeah.
But New York is its own market. Long Island, it's its own market. Nassau County.
And even so, like even that being said, right? Like I'm far and beyond that point where like I get people that come to me all the time. I'm in California. It doesn't work here. I'm like, bullshit, because for every person that you say that says it doesn't work, I have 10 people that I've done it with that it works. So like I'm beyond that defeatist mentality. I'm like, if you have that in your head, you already made the decision that if you believe that it's not possible, there's nothing I can do to convince you that it is. Because again, I knew that it was possible here in New York, even in the midst of all the shit, because I'm like, if someone else is doing, there's no way I can.
Well,
so
that just goes with like everything though, with when I started bringing up real estate to my family and friends, and let me say this to my family and friends, because I know I've been talking a lot. I love all you guys. I have nothing against anybody. But what I'm trying to say is this. I start mentioning real estate and this.
Same shit happened with me.
And they're like, oh, no, that's impossible.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean,
you don't want to be a landlord.
You can't do that. What are you talking about?
You don't want to fix toilets.
No. It's realistically, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it is true. You're scared to do it. You don't understand it. I think there is a way. it's because of that person's inability to see past the I could see the future.
Yeah.
Me,
And again, they're your family. They want to protect you.
I know.
Right?
I love them though.
We all do.
My
parents did the exact same shit. And my dad knows. I talk about it all the time. I've been on tons of podcasts. And my dad knows. I share the story all the time. And I say it blatantly. My dad's doing it because he loves me. My family do it. They do that. They do look out for you. But again, it's having the foresight to understand and know that there's more to it than that. And sometimes, because here's what's cool. What's really cool is when you do prove it, everyone tells you not to do it until you do it. And then everyone's very interested in how you did it. So you have to be the one. Ed Milet talks about it all the time, right?
You have to be the one.
Be the fucking one.
Hell yeah.
If you feel like you're in the family, you have to be the one. Look at every big family, big business, something that happened. There was always someone in their family that went and took and did something different. And they were the one in their generation, in their genealogy, that made the pivot. And you have the opportunity to be that person.
Even myself, my father bought about 4 to 5 rental properties, flipped a few houses. And when I brought my business model to him, oh man, I got backlash. Oh, you can't do this. Sorry. You can't handle the construction. I'm in construction. You can't. But then he saw, holy crap, my son is really doing this. No, he really means this. This kid's it's been 3 years. He hasn't shut the hell up. He hasn't shut the hell up about real estate. And then I had to gain the trust, show him my plan, show him the data. This is my plan. This is how much money it's going to take. I'm watching other people do it. I'm like looking at him, believe in me. And my wife's like, keep going, keep pushing. Because thank God for her, because she really without her, it's like, she was always there just going like, stop listening to everybody.
Right.
Keep moving.
You just got to keep your head down.
Because
the reality is no one's going to believe you until you do it, right? Like you have to, like someone asked me, like, how do you build confidence? With proof. Like, don't talk about doing something, just do it.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, don't tell me, show me. You know? And that's kind of what it was for me in my circle was I went out and did this, and I did this 203K loan. And, you know, I know you asked it before, but what is what is it? Like, again, it's a home buyer loan. It's an FHA backed loan. It's a federally backed loan program that allows people that are buying their house. Now it's owner occupant, so you need to live in the property. That's why they give you low down payment, low interest rate, all that good stuff. You know, it's not for everyone. This isn't like I own 10 houses and I'm going to go do this and like fake. Like this is for, you're using it as a leverage point, as basically making the house that you buy or the next house that you buy. It's not first time home buyer. It's just your primary residence. You have an opportunity to, instead of making your primary residence a mortgage that chain cuffs you to a chain, I'd say buy a house that you can get paid to live in by house hacking and build a tremendous amount of equity using capital that the government gives you at the lowest rate possible in the world.
Matt, me and my wife, you know, on Instagram, we watch you watch your account, and every time your account pops up, 203K loan, 203K loan. Every time your account pops, 203K loan. And at one point I look at my wife, I'm like, does he shut the hell up? Does he shut the hell up, this guy? But now, as I spent more time with you, I'm like, we just talked about how no one knows about it. Right. This guy needs to freaking start yelling about it. This guy needs to be the person of information. He has to be the go-to guy. And I'm like, he has to, because it's just, there's no information.
So I go through my process. I buy my house. I put the numbers real quick. I bought this thing for $270. It was a legal 2-family in Farmingdale.
Where at?
Farmingdale. Legal 2-family in Farmingdale was damn near condemned. Everyone said that I had to knock down. Now, mind you, I was working a decent job in the city as an engineer, making decent money, but I still couldn't afford the shittiest house, literally, on Long Island that was listed on the MLS. I still couldn't afford it.
What year was that?
This was 2016.
Okay.
So $270,000, but I was probably approved for $280 or $300, which I was making offers. I was just getting laughed at. But again, there was no other option. I made offers for months, and like
how many offers until that offer?
Oh, 20, 30.
I think it's important to highlight
100%.
How long does it take?
If you want to make more offers, if you want to learn how to invest in real estate, make more offers. Make offers till your freaking eyes bleed. That's the game. That's it. And that's what I did. And even this one, I didn't even realize I couldn't buy, but I learned from my mortgage officer. He told me this is a 2-family. And he taught me that I am able to forecast that future rental income, even though the thing was dilapidated, no one was living in it, it was almost condemned. That other unit will produce me $2,000 a month of income. That gave me effectively a $2,000 a month raise, right? So that gives me a $24,000 a year raise that now I'm able to get qualified for more. This is a good thing to know. When you use these types of loans, for every $1,500 in income that you're able to produce from an extra unit in your house, it raises your mortgage approval about $100,000.
Wow.
So I just got $100,000 more buying power, and that pushed me over because I was buying the house for $270,000. I was only pre-approved for like $300,000, but the house needed $100,000 worth of work basically. So I was all in for $350,000. That other unit gave me the boost to get me to the $350,000. Now, again, I had been studying real estate for all these years, and I knew that I'm like, all right, well, I can get in, buy it at this, put about 100 into it. It's going to be worth probably in the 4s when I'm done. I just kind of looked around what was around, and I kind of went through that process, and that's kind of what I just went in with. And I said I could live in one unit, rent out the other, and the tenant's going to cover damn near all my mortgage. So I went in, I went through every issue you could possibly go with this thing, and I had to learn as I went, and I had to suffer through it, but I did. It took me about a year to fully renovate it out. We were finally done, and I got the CO, and we got the final inspection, and the inspector came through and walked through. And again, looking back and thinking about all the shit I went through, all the different real estate deals that I was trying to do for 4 years, then doing this, being told as I do this, that 203Ks suck, and from real estate agents, they're a pain in the ass, they don't work, they're not worth it, they're not worth it, they're not worth it, they're not worth it. I look around, I sit down, I finish this project, I put $9,500 down out of my pocket on this fucking house. $9,500. That was it.
That was it?
Put $9,500 down. Wow. I'm sitting in this house. I look around. It's fully renovated. I smell the paint on the walls. I smell the newly finished floors. I look around. The thing's done. They handed my CEO. I'm now a landlord, a homeowner. And I'm like, I don't know how much equity I built in this thing, but I think it's probably there. And I remember to this day, I'll never forget it, looking around this house and being like, how the fuck do more people not know about this thing? Yeah. There's not a real estate agent or a lender on the planet that can convince me that this is not worth it. Are you fucking kidding me? Maybe it's not worth it for you, but for me, the buyer, that this is my only shot, fuck you if you think that I'm going to not say, I don't care how much, it's extra paperwork. I do paperwork every day at my office for a fucking living for someone else for shit I don't want to do.
To own a piece of asset?
Right. I do it because my freaking boss doesn't want to do something so I have to go through all this shit and make photocopies for him. I don't care about paperwork. I reappraise it immediately after because I want to refinance immediately after. It reappraises for $480,000, and then I reappraises a couple months later for $520,000. So I built $150,000 of equity off of $9,500. Not to mention, I was living there for free for a brief time, and that's when me and my wife, Michelle, just got engaged. So I actually moved out and started living with her, and we were planning the wedding. So I moved out of that property pretty early. It was cash flowing me net $2,000 a month. My cash-on-cash return was 800% on the first deal. And I used that, again, as the nest egg to get me into the next deal. But to your point of why don't I shut up about this, is because it blows my freaking mind.
I'm breaking your balls,
that people, no, I know, no, but the reality of it is I realized about being the guy, it almost felt like I had no interest in teaching people about this. I was an engineer. I wanted to be a real estate investor. I didn't think... But I saw the need of people out there. Obviously that's how the 203K way came about, my community and my platform of there was all these other people out there that were just like me that don't have a house yet or are just very interested in investing in real estate, living in high cost of living areas. They're doing well for themselves. Again, I had a decent job. I felt like I was doing it right, but the housing market was the American dream that we were sold didn't seem to be materializing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here's an opportunity for you to do it. And all these people are like, yeah, man, I'm talking to my lender and they're telling me not to do it. It's a pain in the ass. And I'm telling my realtor says it's a pain in the ass. And I see your stuff and I saw you do it and you help people do it. And what am I missing here? Yeah. And I'm like, you're missing.
In that moment, you became a working class hero.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Good title.
Yeah.
So I want to mention two things and I want to swing into a different topic.
Yeah.
So Matt, you got really passionate, bro, about you. I asked you what was the biggest barrier. It just sounded like you just screamed it from the top. Paperwork. It sounds like extra paperwork to me.
There's no barrier to it.
Oh, so never mind.
It's
no barrier.
That's the funny part about it. It's
no
like,
barrier.
It's a barrier. It's like a fake barrier.
It's a fake barrier. Even better.
It's the Dunning-Kruger effect again.
Here we go.
100,000%.
Because
Here we go.
what happens is people don't understand it. They make it more complicated than it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then they tell the people, because if you're a realtor, if you're a lender, if you're in this space and you're going to, and something is put in front of you that you don't understand, you don't, not only do you not know how powerful it is, but you also don't want to look like you don't understand it, 100%. So that you just knock it down so that you can move on to things that you do understand.
You do know, because you work on commission and you need to focus on what you do know and not what you don't.
100%.
And I don't get mad at lenders and agents because I understand that. I don't blame them, but what I do blame them on is when they talk down on it, when they talk shit about it. Because at the end of intelligence is ignorance.
It's misguiding
because
people.
What happens is don't label it because you don't understand it.
Yes.
I always make the analogy, if I go out with you, let's just say like I don't play golf, but you're a great golfer and you bring me out and you're swinging it and your ball's going straight and it's going nice and everything and I'm hitting the ball, I'm missing it, it's going 5 yards, I have to go look for it. You know, we're drinking some beers, but like this isn't fun. Like I'm having a really bad time. You're playing the game. You're golfing. You're loving it. You've been playing for years. You know this. You know this. You play this golf. Right. You play it all the time. And I'm all over the place. We get done with the round. You're like, all right, we're gonna go again. I'm like, fuck this. This sucks. I'm not going golfing again. And I say, golf sucks. Does golf suck? No, I suck.
You suck.
I'm not good at it.
Suck.
I don't play. I don't. It's like so. Again, does the 203K suck? No. It's actually it's a really awesome product.
Yeah.
So, but if you don't understand it, sure, it could suck. It could definitely suck because if you try anything and you do something that you don't have any clue what you're doing, it's gonna suck. But people don't give it the respect it deserves.
Absolutely,
you know?
It's so powerful. I just put a kid, 21 years old, in a 3-family house. He's living there with his girlfriend. He's 22 years old.
Amazing.
I love it.
And it's costing him $1,000 a month to live there.
Amazing.
Hell yeah.
And
in Long Island.
In Long Island. Costing him $1,000 a month. And it's a big,
and he's
beautiful house.
printing equity every month.
Yeah.
Every month
Printing.
living there.
I love that. Printing.
Yeah.
But let me mention something. I have this shirt. I've never played a day of golf in my life, and everybody's yelling at me, Dan, you got to play golf. You got to play golf. But I'm somehow have this look that I feel like a golfer right now for some reason. I just wanted to mention that on camera. Completely. I don't know why I'm saying
you
that.
look at the look, but you're the guy on the course that's not having a good time.
Yeah.
You're the lender that sucks
and
at the 203K.
I don't drink, so I'm really fucked.
Yeah, right. You can't even have fun. Yeah,
Man the golf cart. That's
But
it.
I really wanted to get into. I really wanted to swing into the next topic with you, Pete, and Matt. Thanks, man. Like I think you have shared such powerful information, and keep fucking yelling it, bro. And keep. No, I'm serious. I break your balls because I turn my camera like, here he goes. But it's like, yeah, but he has we need this information.
Keep saying it.
Keep doing it. So, Pete, I wanted to pivot things a little bit. You know, we're mentioning a lot about W-2 life, W-2 work. Pete, you got a new project going on. We got to hear about it. What is happening now?
So, and Matt's part of this as well.
Awesome.
We're doing the working class guide to getting rich. It's a pet project. It's a passion of mine.
Good.
As I think most people know, I started as an iron worker. Most of my friends and family are W-2 people, heavy construction, and the middle class mindset is broken, and we're going to create a movement to change that. We're taking all the information that the rich use to affect their lives, to make their life easier and better. I'm going to bring that to the working class. That's what we're doing. So we're having an event July 20th. I think it's going to be at Mulcahy's. I'm locking that down this week. And we're going to...
Do we roughly have a date yet or no?
July 20th. July 20th. Yeah.
And he just went over my fucking head.
I'm sorry, but we're solidifying it.
It's everything. Damn.
We're double checking. We're getting the buy-in.
All right. One more time. What's the date?
July 20th.
What do we... At where?
This year, 2025.
Okay, got it.
So, and we're bringing how to do things like the 203K loan, how to buy rentals, how to change your mindset about wealth and about money, because a lot of the challenges are not what to do, because teaching people what to do is going to be the easiest part. When they see how easy it is to actually buy rentals, flip houses, to be part of this real estate game, that's the easy part.
Yeah.
It's easy to digest information. We're going to delve into, one, who we are and where we came from, so that people understand there's no difference, and the overarching mindset of the middle class that's living in overwhelming safety mode instead of growth mode.
You don't hate safety guys, do you?
Well,
My
not
God.
off the clock.
Get out of safety mode.
We'll get them out of safety mode.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. The goal is to bring these things that are working for rich people to the everyday person, to people that are getting up every day, sweating, working, trying to keep their family protected, fed, and showing them a way to live a more comfortable, a safer life. And it's so much better than just living to pay down your mortgage. I want to create massive change in the masses.
I love that. And everything from Matt's story of him explaining the beginning parts of trying to get into real estate, and he's going into work day in and day out. And I've done it too, because I see Matt on the train and working the W-2 life. You as well, Pete. And I said previously, it's like, you know, a W-2 job, you got the people giving you the steps. Boom, boom, boom. But it sounds like you're gonna, not their boss, but give them a better outline, especially here, I would say in Long Island, how to really hone in on this particular market. Because you were explaining, Matt, you know, guys telling you information in Minnesota, go to a title company. Meanwhile, you know, in New York, everything has to go through a lawyer. It has to go through a lawyer. We have to educate people, and here are the key elements where you should be. Boom, having your attorney. Boom, having your insurance guy. But
and understanding how much power they actually have.
Right.
Yes.
That they're working with. Right?
That's the big thing. What we were talking about with this is like, I think what people think is it's either this or that. And what I think the goal of this is like, you're still gonna work. Like in the beginning, like we're still working.
I'm still working.
Right.
I'm still working.
And like you're still like your job, that job that you do, and you work your butt off and you have pride in what you do. That is a bigger asset than you probably understand. It makes you lendable. It gives you that nest egg that you need.
We're leveraging labor. That's what we're doing here. We're taking labor and we're teaching them how to leverage it, so they're getting more than that hourly wage.
Exactly.
One of the biggest things having a W-2, and as you were highlighting, Matt, was when I apply for a mortgage or a loan, or when I'm trying to get the next investment deal, I'm like approved like that.
100%.
I'm like, what? Me? But I only make this. But yeah, but Dan, you have a retirement 401k loan. Your house has this much equity in it. You are making more money than
you're
this.
bankable.
You're bankable. I'm like, really? I am me, this guy? And I didn't know that. And
a lot of people don't.
Exactly. And I think I think the W-2 workers, like they don't even realize, oh my God.
You have a lot of power.
So much power.
But people don't know that. And I think, and again, the whole thing is like, this is a bolt on to what you're already doing. Right? This doesn't need to be like, again, the whole thing, like when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, like I wanted to quit my job and be full time.
But you did though.
Well, later, right? But the whole idea was that, and this is years later. I mean, from when I started, it took me almost a decade to fully get out of my full W-2 and everything like that, right? It took me almost the better part of 10 years. And I wished it, I was trying to rush it. And the reality was there's no reason to, because that 9 to 5 paid for and was the attributing factor to me getting my start. It gave me the stability I needed to get into the game. And I think the whole premise of this working class guide to getting rich is like the fact that you are doing what you're doing is one of your greatest assets. Just knowing that you can do more than just pay down your mortgage. There's other places where you can put your money.
I don't want my friends that I know and the people like them that have earned the business, they're getting up, going, doing dangerous jobs.
Right.
Dangerous jobs.
Oh yeah.
Talking to a safety guy.
Yeah. Dangerous jobs. Like I obviously I got hurt at work. I've got a friend that's out right now, hurt. He's going to be out for probably 6 months to a year. I want these guys to have more safety than they have. I want to help create the nest egg that they don't know can exist. And I want their kids to have that. That kid that I put in, the 22-year-old, he's one of my best friend's sons.
Yeah.
I got to be empowered to help the next generation.
How good did that feel?
The greatest feeling in the whole world.
Hell yeah.
It's an amazing to be able to, and to be honest with you, my friend was nervous that his son was buying a house because we live in this safety, we live in this mindset, like, don't take this leap of faith on this, stay in the safe, do the job, get a regular house, pay down a mortgage, and I need to insert myself with these people to show them that when you're 15 years on the job and you own 3 houses, and if you get hurt at work, there's safety there.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that check not coming in because you helped yourself set up for your family. You don't have to. We live, especially as men, we get up every day and we put our lives on the line, and we will work 20 hours a day just to make sure that the people around us are safe.
100%.
And I want to empower them to be able to do that and not worry if I don't go to work tomorrow, it's not going to be okay.
But doing that, they have to leverage.
They have to leverage.
They have to leverage. Matt, looks like you're about to say something.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I realized as I was going through this, and maybe one of my mentors told me this, but it always resonated with me, was, when people say like, oh, real estate's risky or investing's risky. You know what's risky? Depending on a single income.
Yes.
I come from the engineering world. It's called a single point of failure. You have one thing that can cut off everything. You fall, you get hurt, you get put out of work. We saw it during the pandemic. Overnight, people lost their job for no reason of their own.
Yeah.
Just lost their job like that. People in the service business lost their whole business because that was their one thing. And when that's your one thing, and it could be nothing, you're working hard every single day. You're doing everything right. I remember we were working a contract job. We were working for a big financial firm in Manhattan. And I was working there as a contractor. We were doing everything great on the contract. Everything was going perfect. The people there loved us. It was all going well. Our contract went out to bid. Someone in another state who never knew who we were, didn't know anything about us, saw that another bidder came in at $1 less per hour than our bid.
Wow.
And we had everything going well. Everyone loved us. And they, just like that, a sourcing partner, some accounting guy in another state, never spoke to us, doesn't know anything about us, popped us out, put another one in. I went from doing good, working my butt off, we worked really hard to get this thing up, to overnight, nope, you don't have a job anymore. You lost the contract. And that was my only contract. That's all I had. And my boss at the company I was working for was like, I don't have anything for you, man. Like, this was it. This was paying you. This was the contract. So you're done. Overnight. Yeah. And that was what, thank God, that was after I had already started investing in real estate.
And you had the house.
I did. Yeah. And I had that. I had my other property. And at that point, and I was like, thank God that I had something else. Because in that moment, it got really scary. But I was like, holy shit. Like, I was doing everything right. Yeah. And I still was a single point of failure. One thing cut me out.
I want to mention a story that I lived through. My father, laborer, local 79 laborer for foreman, contractor on the side, but he was working in the city. And my father developed problems with both of his hands.
Yeah, sure.
And then he had to get surgery on his left hand that took 6 months. And then he had to get surgery after those 6 months on his right, his following. Don't worry about that. All right, let me retake. On his other arm, another 6 months. So he was out for almost a year, and then he had to build his strength back up in both hands. But thank God, my father saved up enough money before this incident with his hands. I mean, he was in his mid-40s, I think, approaching on his 50s. That we had at least 2 other rental properties paying for us, but that was out of work. It was out of work. And thank God that safety net was there. Yeah. And I lived through that where, listen, we're eating pasta 5 nights a week.
Yeah. I remember we did it too.
Pasta and if we didn't have that, I don't think my dad.
Right, we lost your house, or who knows?
It could have really been a shitter.
But that's the key point of this is like just number one, continuing what you're doing, but to your point, bolting it on and learn it. Like, that's the beauty of the country we live in, is like, don't get mad at these tax benefits and what other people are doing. It's just as available to you as it is to anybody. The fact is, we're just, like you said, in the middle class, we're kind of chained to it. We're told the wrong things. But the tax code, like, don't get mad if people use the tax code. It's available to everybody.
Yeah, right. We're unlocking that.
But even yesterday, I'm trying to do my bookkeeping and I'm shopping around for new CPAs because I want to get things more organized. I'm like, I need you to take care of this. You know the taxes.
Right.
I want you to tell me what I can and can't do. I'm not going to sit there and read a tax code. I want to focus on my podcast, my real estate, my safety stuff.
Right.
That's what I want to hone in on. But that's also getting the right people in your in your network saying, I don't know anything about taxes. I'm not sitting there going to start reading tax codes.
Right.
Hire
Or like trying to do QuickBooks yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Right. It's just, you pay the people that know what to do, and you pay for the right support. And that's another thing. It's like when you come from that background, that construction background, that manly man background of like, do it yourself, do it yourself, do it yourself. I think another thing too, and I still struggle with it too, is like also knowing that there's other people out there that can support you and help you and are experts at this, and just leverage them. Don't feel like you have to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
That's the goal, is we're going to build a community around this.
Right.
We're going to help people support each other. We're going to give them the tools on how to create wealth out of work.
Hell yeah.
And,
Hell yeah.
And it's going to be a community where they can support each other too.
Gotcha. I think we have covered a massive amount of information. Matt, man, dude, I love you, man. I and you encourage me to really excel my real estate, by the way, and really watching you grow and get to the point. I'm like, and I know Matt since elementary school. By the way, I want to mention this story. I don't know if you know this. I actually broke my arm in front of Matt's house. He had this little ramp, and I had rollerblades. Yeah, I roll rollerblades, and I went off the ramp.
Too. Fruit brooder. You broke your arm?
I broke my arm in front of your house.
That's sacred ground.
Sacred ground.
You got to put lay flowers.
The next podcast should be in that
You should have
driveway.
your PPE on. Man. I mean, that's on you.
Wow, roasting the safety guy. Do it.
I guess you didn't have your wrist guards.
Oh God. But a lot of great information, Matt. Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate you guys. Love you guys.
I want to kind of give you guys the plug in these, what you got going on, Pete, and then Matt, and then we'll sign off. Pete, give us a sign off on everything what you're doing with the,
All right, so July 20th, we're going to be at Moquet. Just follow me, Pocket Pete, Peter Grosso.
Hey now.
Yeah, you can hear all the hey nows you need, and we'll keep you appraised of the event.
Awesome. Yeah, Matt Porcaro, the 203K way, the 203K way on all socials, or Matt Porcaro. I'm just a big believer in this. And, I have my real estate business. I have, I'm involved on the mortgage side a lot heavier now. And basically I'm consulting on this across the United States for people. So it's been the passion project for me. And just like Pete in that regard is like, I just want more people to know that it's possible. Because what you said before about that young kid, here's what I can say. I flipped a bunch of houses. I've owned some rental properties. Like, that's fine. I've had the opportunity and the privilege to help hundreds of people do 203K loans and watch how the only thing cooler than successfully flipping a house yourself or buying a rental property is doing it with someone else and seeing how much it changes their life and changes their trajectory and their outlook on money. Way cooler, 100%. Way more satisfying, way more gratifying. And I'm doing it one person at a time. I'd love to do it more. And I think that's just the cool thing of like giving back. And I knew and realized that the only way that people are going to learn more about it is if I just keep shouting it on Instagram from the rooftops. So, follow me and check me out on there. But we're going to be involved also on the working class thing. So,
well, guys, thank you. That's it for the show, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a like, follow us. Any questions, please ask. I am going to drop Pocket Pete's information and Matt Porcaro's information, the 203K loan, in all the bio. So if you want to get connected with them, it will be listed on the bio below. Until next time, I don't know what else to say. How should I sign off, Pete?
Goodbye.
Goodbye?
Until next time.
Until next time.
Signing off. Hey now.
Hey now.
Bye now.
Until next time.
Bye now.
Bye now. Thanks.